Hello, I'm Marie from tospeaktous.com, and I'm going to give you some words to practice pronunciation, some vocabulary, and some phrases to practice for business negotiation. So if you'd like to follow along with the words and the phrases, you can look at the description below. And then once we've gone through one time, you can start again and pronounce the words with me. Bid on this contract. Bid on this contract. Financial advisors. Financial advisors. Notice they're together because advisors starts with a vowel. Financial advisors goes together. Financial advisors. Loan is due. The loan is due, or the maturity date of the loan. Maturity date. Maturity date. Penalty. Penalty. Relationship. Two companies have a relationship. Relationship. Sensitive. Sensitive. Keep in mind. Keep in mind. This means think about it. Keep in mind. Track record. Someone's track record. The work you've done in the past. Track record. Relatively high. Relatively high. Bound to the contract. Bound to the contract. This means you're obligated to finish the contract. Bound. Bound to the contract. Meet halfway. Meet halfway. You give half, I give half. We have a negotiation here. Let's meet halfway. Loan. Pronunciation. L-O, loan. Loan. So be very careful to put the N on the end, because if you don't, it sounds like low, like high, low. I need to hear the N. Loan. Loan. Mature. This can be a verb. Mature. Maturity. Maturity is a thing. It's a noun. Advise is a verb. Notice the Z sound. Advise. Advise. I'd like to advise you to do this. Advise. Advise. Advice. Soft S sound. Advice is the noun. Advice. I need some advice. Can you give me some advice? To discuss. To discuss. Recap. Recap. This is to talk about the main idea. Let's recap what we've talked about. 1, 2, 3, the things we talked about. Reconvene. Reconvene. So if the meeting, the people go for a break, maybe a coffee break, they could say, okay, let's reconvene at 2 o'clock. It means come back together and finish the meeting. Reconvene. Reconvene. Perhaps so this is a way to give a suggestion. Perhaps you could, representative, representative, another thing, another. Notice there's an A on the front, but it says another, another thing, seems to be. This is a way to make it a little bit softer. Seems to be. This seems to be interesting. Okay, so let's give the situation. You're the client. You'd like to discuss a bid that this company is going to offer you. The terms of the contract, you're going to look at the terms of the contract with this company. So you're going to negotiate this together. Let's start. Business meeting. I looked over the papers before the meeting and everything seems to be in order. You can start. I looked over the papers before the meeting and everything seems to be in order. Our companies can have a win-win relationship. Our companies can have a win-win relationship. For this to happen, we need to discuss several topics. For this to happen, we need to discuss several topics. Need to discuss to discuss. We need to discuss several topics. There are 3 companies who are going to bid on this contract. There are 3 companies who are going to bid on this contract. Please keep in mind that we will make our final decision after we review all the bids. Please keep in mind that we will make our final decision after we review all the bids. After we review all the bids. We'd like to work with you because we like your track record with other companies. We'd like to work with you because we like your track record with other companies. Okay, now we're going to talk about the money. Ready? The fees, the money. We were thinking your fees are a little too high. So we use the past tense to make it a little softer. Instead of that's too much money, it costs too much, it's too expensive. No, we want to say, in the past, we were thinking, but it's not past, it's right now. I'm thinking, it's too expensive, but we use the past. We were thinking your fees are a little too high, or a little high. Could you be more specific about the numbers? Could you, the modal verb, could you? Could you be more specific about the numbers? This is negotiating. Instead of saying you could be more specific, I say, could you? I leave it open for them to answer. Could you be more specific about the numbers? Your fees seem to be relatively high. Seems to be, very nice expression. Your fees seem to be relatively high. We were hoping, past tense, but no, it's now, I'm thinking right now. We were hoping to meet halfway. We were hoping to meet halfway. Okay, let's talk about loans. What do you think about the loan? What do you think about the loan? So this is a question that leaves it open. They're going to give you more than yes or no. You want more answers. So you say what? You use your question word. What do you think about the loan? Loan. Nice N on the end. Once the loan matures, what would you advise us to do? Advise. Once the loan matures, what would you advise us to do? Would you advise me to extend or terminate the loan? Would you advise me to extend or terminate the loan? Okay, let's talk about contracts. I would like to talk about another very important issue. So instead of I want to, I make it a little bit softer by saying would. I would like. Do you need these words? Not necessarily, but it makes it sound nicer. It's a little bit softer, a little bit indirect. I'd like to talk about another very important issue. I can see here that we need to stay in the contract until the end. But if we're not completely satisfied, we wouldn't want to be bound to complete this contract. I can see here that we need to stay in the contract until the end. But if we're not completely satisfied, we wouldn't want to be bound to complete this contract. We would like to be able to get out of the contract without a penalty. We would, or you can use the contraction we'd. We'd like to be able to get out of the contract without a penalty. Penalty, penalty, penalty. I'd like for you to see beyond this particular request. So you want to explain why. I'd like for you to see beyond this particular request. There may be some sensitive information about our company that you will have access to, which would require you to honor this contract. There may be, so we're using the indirect language again, there may be some sensitive information about our company that you will have access to, which would require you to honor this contract. However, nice connecting word, however, you want to bring them with you. However, we would like you to remain in the contract until its termination date unless we agree to an earlier termination date. However, we would like you to remain in the contract until its termination date unless we agree to an earlier termination date. Okay, so we have words, we have phrases. This is business negotiation. Pay close attention to the softer language, the indirect, would, could, the past tense, seems to be. All of these things make it more negotiation than I'm telling you this is how it is. If you'd like to practice this some more, I have some other videos with business and business negotiation, and you can look on the website at tospeaktous.com, or you can simply do a search in YouTube, To Speak to Us. Probably tospeaktous.com or even Marie.